were really easier. Family was always first. It was a priority in life. People, neighbors, and everybody got along, and it was just a wonderful time back some 20, 30 years ago. And this show tonight really is talking about uh, how far we've come as a nation of people in these past, say, 30, 40, 50 years. And here we are now. We've always had police issues. So this is nothing new. I know a lot of folks are on social media all over the place, nearly on an hourly basis, complaining about different things that they're seeing, police brutality of some sort. And yet we know that uh, we've been having issues dealing with the police uh, just prior to the civil rights movement. We've been having issues with the police. And even way back in 1900s, 1921, we had Black Wall Street. And as you may or may not know, in Black Wall Street, black folk we were thriving. You know, we had a multitude of businesses that we did. And we had Tulsa, Oklahoma, that they called Black Wall Street, and black folks were thriving. You know, I think they had something like uh, 6 or 7 planes. They had a bus company, airlines company. They had banks. They had groceries. They had beauty salons. I mean, everything that you have today were in the black community back in those times. And not only in Tulsa, but also in North Carolina and Wilmington and Atlanta and many other places where you saw a black community. Black folk were just simply thriving and doing great things in unity, uh, dealing with a group economic stand. Black folks were just, I mean, just nearly taking over. And even in the 70s, when you had the rise of the Black Panthers, their job really was to do police to police. And these wonderful brothers and sisters uh, would put their lives on the line, that if someone in their community got arrested, that they were there with guns because it was legal to carry a gun, as it is in many states today. They would literally be there with guns, making sure that the police officers did not beat that person or harm that person. And that's why I always say, people, nothing is new under the sun. I don't know why people are, maybe because it's more on, so you can see it more often on social media. You can see it, hundreds of times a day. But this is nothing new that we're facing, dealing with killings and modern day lynching, because this is what you're seeing as a modern day lynching. Instead of hanging them on trees, which they still are, they're shooting them in the back, or hanging them in jails and prisons all across this country. And don't get it twisted. Just as it was back then, it is even now ordered. And I think what we have to begin to understand and the research is, we're gonna it's gonna have to come a time where we're gonna have to put somebody's face on this thing. Like back then, we knew it was J. Edgar Hoover pushing the buttons on everything, and there is a J. Edgar Hoover in Washington that people are allowing to walk around here easily, breathing, sleeping, going to all kind of sporting events, having a good damn time. But he's giving the order for people to do all these killings, and we need to find out who the hell this person is and call them out and expose the enemy. And that's why they don't have a problem doing it on a daily basis, because you're not trying to cut the head off the snake. You just sitting there looking at isolated incidents, and this thing is a collective group of men who are getting orders from high officials to annihilate the people. And even on my show last night, I talked about how Christian folks are so easily to forgive folks who God has simply dismissed. And we have to truly get that understanding that we are living in some times, man, that are bad, man. I I can't emphasize it enough. It's horrible. It's horrible. And as a people, we got to do a better job of uniting and being as one and coming together in the spirit of the Lord. And I'm going to take this quick commercial break, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to talk more in depth about the lack of respect that we have as a people on this planet. When I come back, because it's crazy, man. It's crazy how we're going around just disrespecting people. So I'm going to take this break, and I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back. And again, we're talking uh, about the subject of how we can, how can you respect the police when as a nation we don't even respect ourselves? And again, I was talking earlier to a friend of mine, and we were just discussing in general on how things are so different uh, growing up in today's society, and how the old saying, "It takes a village," was really true, man. I mean, people really looked out for one another in a loving way and a caring way, but in a godly manner. I mean, you growing up, if you were down the street acting a fool, uh, one of your neighbors 4, 5, 6 blocks down could see you, and they could uh, get on you about whatever you were doing wrong, and say, ain't you Trudy May boy? Because everybody knew everybody. You say, yes, ma'am, come here. And she may slap you on your hand with a ruler or a belt or something, or even give you a spanking. And then later on, when your mother and your father got off, they went on, they either called or they went on down and told them what you did. Caring and protecting the community, but not only that, protecting the family and the village. And lo and behold, as more and more black folks got educated, they got dumber. I'm just gonna stay on black folks for now, on my own people. Started moving into the suburbs. Started wanting to live like the non-Africans live. You didn't, you know, they don't punish their kids for the most part. And a lot of white folks do spank their kids, but for the most part, they talk to them. Time out. Remember that? Remember Oprah and the time out, and Oprah come on TV, and you got to talk to them, and all these psychiatrists she had on there. They were all white. And well, you have to talk to them and ask them what's wrong. Why are you feeling this way? What are you doing? And for us, we were just fine. you know, you talk about living in communities, brother, when you had doctors and lawyers on the same block as garbage workers and waiters and dishwashers on the same block. And then somehow through the education and through the mind control, the ones who had degrees of some type of status begin to move out of those communities. Because when you had doctors in the communities, you also had pharmacists in those communities. They had offices in those communities, or back in the day, they did house calls. Hell, a doctor will come see you. $25 visit is just a cover. Family, villages, communities. And the more we strive to have the American dream, the more we begin to fall off. And then in the 80s, they usher in the drugs and all those things, because back then you had in the 60s and 70s, and even before then, you primarily had a two-parent home. They gave you a women's movement, and they gave you welfare to get that man out of that home. And now you have division beginning. No longer do you have a black pharmacist in the community, a doctor offices, clinics in the communities. Now you got a Fannie Mae. I mean, not Fannie Mae, but Margaret Sanger at Planned Parenthood coming in, along with pawn shops and liquor stores. You see, back then, you didn't primarily you had. I'm gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. You had moonshine. I'd be a liar if I say that. But you didn't have liquor stores and all those things in those communities for the most part. And the more we wanted to integrate, the more as a people we began to separate. And that's the truth. The more we integrated with other people, we were separated from amongst ourselves. And we wanted to wear Polo, Gucci, Prada, Polo, all that stuff. Tommy Hilfiger, Timberlands, anything that resembled status and made us forget about who we are. We put it on our bodies because it made us feel like we were better than a nigger or an African American, how you want to call it. But it's the gospel truth. And all along, no matter how high your status was in this country, and forever, until you begin to seek out God, every ethnic group see you as the bottom of the totem pole anyway. Nobody want to fool with you. You got LeBron James, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, all these wealthy people now. Michael Jordan. I can go on and on. Successful, and the only reason they love you is because you entertain them. You're just an entertainer to them. Make them laugh. but your entertainment for their pleasure. And God made you warriors and kings and queens. And you're searching so hard to be accepted by people who don't give a damn about you and have always been disrespectful to you. You look at the Cuban community. They came over here after the Communist Party or whatever took over, and they were able to come to America, hop on boats or whatever, and come here and have asylum. Same thing with the Mexicans, the Asians, Middle Easterns, Indians, every ethnic group you can think of, Italians, everybody came over here. And America simply said, welcome. We are the only race of people that was forced to come here and use as raw material to build this nation and to make it as to what it is today. And all those groups I just mentioned, here we are in 2016, so all these murders and all these killings and police killings. And where the hell is the Asian community and outrage? If we're all in humanity, it's all about humanity and love and all. Where the Asians at? Where the Indians at? Where my Hispanic brothers, for the most part? Where the Indians, Asians, Jews, Italians, Middle Easterns? Where they at? Have you seen them? Where the Cubans at? Have you seen them? So when folks say, well, the black people don't respect the police, baby, we don't respect each other. Look around you. Look around. This sister, last year, she had a flat tire on the side of the road. She was in an upscale neighborhood. I forgot where she was, but it doesn't really matter. But she was here somewhere in Atlanta, in Dunwoody or whatever you want to call it. And here she is, 6 months pregnant. Beautiful sister, beautiful. Get a flat tire. And she was dropping her daughter off and heading to school, a son, I'm sorry, and heading to work, I'm sorry, and had got a flat tire on the street. And on the street, or the strip actually, there were a multitude of cars, and she saw, all white folks and Asian folks in that neighborhood, and they all drove by her while she tried to on the phone with her husband, trying to change a tire. And she was in this Asian man's front yard, and he comes out in his robe, look at her, sees what she's doing, and walks back in the house. And that's why I told you earlier, every one of them groups have no respect for us, and we the one built this damn country. And you brought your ass over here for free, hopped on the wagon, and getting all these freaking benefits. That's why I say, if they're in your community selling hair care, whatever they selling in your community, all those groups, stop buying from them. They don't respect you. They don't give a damn. Stop buying from them. If you're in Atlanta, go to PDK Beauty Supply out here in Alpharetta, Georgia. PDK Beauty Supply. That's a black-owned hair care product store. That brother, him and his wife, Dinah Lane and Press Lane, if you need to go to a meat market, anything black, that brother will tell you when you walk in that store. But you have to galvanize yourself and get yourself back to where you once were, when you had no choice but to rely on each other. We thrived. And now you have all these choices and you're scattered like roaches. If you're going to reclaim these neighborhoods, stop letting the government allow these people to come to your neighborhood with their low down asses, fake ass religion, selling you stuff, and take that shit back to their upscale neighborhood, and they got their kids going to Duke University in North Carolina, and your child can barely go to a damn HBCU. We get they freaking kids are going to Ivy League schools, all because of your damn black dollars. Stop spending your money on them. They can care less about your ass. That's why you don't see one Facebook tweet or nothing saying how what a shame that is. Even when you see babies being shot, somebody sent me a Facebook video from a sister, baby girl, 18 years old, high school. Of course, they said she had a knife, when she didn't have a knife. Someone had stole her cell phone, and she was confronting them. And instead of dealing with the people who stole the cell phone, you get 4 white police officers, 18 years old, 5'2", 103 pounds, tasing this girl, kicking her in her stomach and slamming her on the ground. 18-year-old girl. No weapon on her. Screaming and yelling, get on your back, because that's the whole tactic of be loud and confuse and to draw confusion. Slam this girl to the ground. You should have seen it. So amazing. And you can't say nothing about that. Asian people, Indian people, Cuban people, Hispanics in general. You ain't got shit to say. You're going to just sit back and be quiet about the whole issue. So amazing. So amazing. I'm telling you, I'm going to run a campaign to run all y'all asses out of every black community in every state. Because you got to ask yourself, if you just worry about your own family, what good are you to this society? You're a fucking waste. Pardon my French. You're wasting your life. What God are you serving? What God says, I just take care of my own people. Who the fuck is your own people? God created everything out of one woman, and that was a black woman. You walk around with that tan on you want and that jet black hair. You came to a black woman. And you ought to thank God for that. And majority of these people I found out, they know this stuff. They know where the hell they came from. And hate the mere fact of who gave you life. Such an evil world we live in. I'm going to play this insert from this bonehead. She was on Donald Trump campaign, but she resigned a couple of days ago because she said something Sunday so stupid. But this will tell you how dissonant people are when it comes to people of color in general. This is what she's the campaign chair in Ohio for Donald Trump. Listen what this jackass said about these killings. I don't think there was any. Now, what an idiot! And all the stuff she's saying about the guns and who do you think bringing them guns in? You jackass! You think those guns just popping up in poor communities? You think those jobs, people are just leaving those jobs? And they bringing in all these Arabs and all these jackasses to run these stores and these urban communities. This is systematic. But again, you can close your eyes to it and pretend you don't see the reality and blame it on somebody else. And again, she can talk this rhetoric, and not any other ethnic group has any damn thing to say. Whatever God you serve, and I want no part of it. I've been telling black folks for over 10 years, you're not serving the same God. Some of these people are serving Satan, the devil himself. And you sitting there thinking, we all God's children. No, he ain't. Time and time again in scripture, God shows you personally that you're his child, not the world. You. But yet you continue to want to sit with him, want to eat with him, want to drink with him, want to break bread with him. And God is saying, I didn't assign those people to you. And some of these people, it's so amazing. I'm trying to find this scripture, man, because I want to read this scripture to you all to really get you an understanding.
90 seconds.
About God and what it is. What it is that I'm trying to say. I'm gonna read this one here. I think it's out of Rome. Let me see if I want to read the one out of Romans.
60 seconds.
Let's see, I can't find that scripture. I don't know what I did with it. Is that it? I'll read the scripture out of Romans. Romans 8, verse 28 through 30. Real quick, and it says, and we know that God causes all things to work together for the good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to become conformed to the image of his son, so that he would be the firstborn among many brethren. And verse 30 says, and these whom he predestined, he also called, and these whom he called, he also justified. He also justified, and those whom he justified, he also glorified. Keep telling you, you are a particular people. No, and it keeps saying the ones he called, he predestined, he foreknew. They said a damn thing about all people. So stop saying all people. Not all people worship the living God. They have created their own gods, and that's why you see them separated. You got the Asian community, worrying about the Asian folks. The Arabs deal with the Arabs. The Chinese with the Chinese. The Indian with the Indian. And they do nothing for humanity. Think about it. These people do nothing for humanity, and I'm sorry. They do nothing for humanity. They're just here, sucking up, running into black neighborhoods, getting those high-powered degrees and becoming doctors and so on and so forth, scientists. But you find out where their money came from primarily, them black dollars, them cleaners in the black neighborhoods, them liquor stores, them pawn shops, hair care, beauty salons. That's a $40 billion industry. And yet they give nothing back. Nothing. What God is that? And is that a God is that a God you would even want to get to know? I don't want to know him. I don't want to know him. And that's why you have the duty and the responsibility to get this thing rolling as a people of God. This wonderful lady who is in Israel, and she did a post this past Sunday, talking about Israel and the people of Israel, because again, the first thing we must know is who we are as a people. If you don't know who you are as a people, you're lost. And back then, uh, people made sure you knew about your history, where you came from. That's why, again, when your neighbors, they knew. Aren't you Miss Trudy May boy? Ain't you Miss Jones boy? People knew you, and your name and your family meant status, respect, honor, integrity. I mean, I knew my neighbors up to 6 blocks on both sides. They all knew me. I couldn't do nothing. I'm 4 blocks from the house. That I can cut the food. Oh no, sir. Hey, ain't you Trudy May son? I'm like, wait a minute, because it was a village. It was family. It was community. We got to get that respect back amongst our own people, and that unity back, that compassion, that love, and that desire to honor and worship God, the living God. What you hear what the sister had to say about Jerusalem? Now, did you just hear that? This woman here, like she said, you don't know who you are. I'm a Christian. You're not no Christian. Jesus wasn't no Christian. You were chosen by God, the Most High God. That's why I want to tell you, everybody don't serve your God. Your God created this earth. You sitting there trying to fit in when you get in when you fit in with all these humanoid preachers now. When God is waiting on you to for Him to step in, all you got to do is get in position. That's why she said, "Come back." You were stolen from Africa, deceived by thinking you're a Gentile when you're God's chosen people, and you still trying to run. We all need to get along together, and God told you to separate yourself from all that foolishness. But your pastor got you believing that we Christians. Being a Christian is one of the bloodiest religion you can be a part of, and we got to get this respect back from one person to another. First amongst ourselves first. Get these doctors and lawyers uh, to come back to these communities as it was back then. Restoration people, instead of trying to get a house out in Sugarloaf or Beverly Hills and all over upstate New York and all these houses, and things you want to live separated. And you got neighbors who can't stand your black ass, but you want to go live with them anyway. And then you on the news, they done spray painted your house KKK, and you want me to feel sorry for you. When I just stayed your ass home, you could have a pharmacy in the community, black owned, a clinic in the community, black owned, maybe any accounting firm in the community, a realtor in the black community, black owned, and be thrived. And having these trips back and forth to Africa and start dealing with Africa. I'm talking about dealing with trade and business with your own people. I'm gonna say this before I go real quick. They're trying to create a race war in the U.S. In the meantime, Russia and China trying to dominate and take over Africa because this country is already in the midst of a major shift. And all the natural resources, or at least over 80% of them, are going to come from Africa. So that's why they keep trying to show you Africa being a poor, desolate place to live, and you don't want to go there. But Africa is the richest continent on the planet. But they reversed it. You think it's the poorest, it's the richest, because they're having to go over there. They don't want to pay for it. They want to go over there, pump diseases amongst these people to get them off that land and begin stealing those natural resources to keep their power and their reign. You got to get back with your own people. I'm talking about the Africans and African Americans. Stop worrying about everybody else. All this kumbaya stuff, stop worrying about it. Anybody want to deal with that, cut them off. This is how crucial this thing has gotten. You got to cut them off and get amongst yourselves and begin to rebuild and begin to pray to a living God and walk with a living God and allow God to walk and work through you. That's all I came to say tonight. Listen, my time is up, and I hope you all were inspired by this. And I ask you to share this thing, man, with your loved ones and your friends. And I'm gonna leave it with Dr. Umar Johnson, something he was saying about how if about how black folks aren't appreciated, they aren't allowed to be, they aren't allowed to be able to compete with white people in this society. And as we always say, in part to love yourselves and to know yourselves, and to know yourselves comes by spending time with God. We love you guys, and we'll see you real soon. Peace and God bless. Here's Dr. Umar Johnson in just a moment.
'30s and the '40s, coming out of Reconstruction just before the Civil Rights Movement, towards the end of the rise of the Garvey Movement, people say, well, we had our families. Most black women was married. Most black men was married. We still had our vagrants and our delinquents, but largely we were a self-respecting, upstanding, self-employed community. We had our own business. We had our own moral fabric, our culture, and now look at us now. We do whatever we want. We come out the house half dressed. We don't respect the women. We don't respect the men. We don't respect the children. But a lot of this is the result of economic desperation. The black man had a family because he was able to provide for a family. Today, the black man has no family because he cannot provide for the family. Back then, black women, a lot of them may have had a little bit more dignity because they had a lot more going for themselves back then. Black youth were a lot more focused because we had more programs and opportunities for them. The political economic structure of the black community has been ripped out. And this began in the 70s. It intensified in the 80s with the war against black men, falsely called the war on drugs, okay, which took all the economic opportunity out the black community. If we go back in time, a lot of our grandparents were able to work in the neighborhoods where they live. A lot of our grandparents didn't have to go to college. My grandfather was a butcher. Him and my grandma, they live in an excellent home. okay, grandmom-in-law, okay, his wife, they live in a nice home, okay, live comfortably. We know a lot of African Americans who are elders in their late 60s going up until their 80s who were able to make a decent living as a laborer with no college. But in the 70s, they said, okay, we have to do something about this because black people are amassing enough wealth to compete with white folk. They're taking over the jobs. So what are we going to do? I know what we're going to do. We're going to deindustrialize the inner city. Remember, black people came up to the north during the Great Migration to take jobs while the white men went to war. Okay, we weren't allowed to fight in World War I, but they did allow us in World War II. So we came to New York. We came to Philadelphia for work during the war. Well, when the war was over and white men came back, guess what? The black folk got laid off. But a lot of us went into business as plumbers, electricians, carpenters, and we were able to take care of ourselves by looking out for the needs of other black families. So what did they do? Deindustrialize the inner city high schools, take out the trade programs. You can hardly find a high school now that teaches you to be a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter. It's all gone. To do what? Make sure black men can't feed their families. Make sure black women can't feed their families. And then they started sending everybody to college, which produces nothing but debt because most black folks with master's and doctorate degrees can't find a job. So you ain't got no skill to eat. You got a college degree, but you can't find a job because most of the degrees we get in college are only useful if there's white people hiring you. Okay, my doctorate degree, there's no black folk looking to hire a PhD psychologist. So most of our college degrees are dependent on being hired by the American economic system, you see. And so basically they brought the drugs in. You got all these unemployed black men. No economy. CIA brings the drugs in. We got an economy. Crack. So black men started selling the only thing that was available to bring in income, and that was drugs. But if you look at it through a moral lens, oh, he's wrong. How can he sell drugs? Yes, it's wrong, but he's doing it out of a necessity. And if you're not going to give him an opportunity to do anything else, it will continue. Who were the original criminals in America? Who were the original drug dealers? The alcohol, selling the booze, the gangs, Jewish immigrants, Italian immigrants, Irish immigrants. They were the ones breaking the laws. They were the ones running the rackets, the numbers, the drugs, because they were not considered to be white folk until the 1940s. But in the 1940s, the United States government decided to make Southern European immigrants white folk. They gave them the police department, the fire department, the civil service jobs downtown. And as a result of that, they moved up. That was their economic stimulus package. Black people never got an economic stimulus package. All we did was take over the underworld that was formerly controlled by the Southern European immigrants. Crime is not a function of genetics. Crime is not a function of race. Crime is a function of the economic order and lack of opportunity. When jobs are plentiful, crime goes down. When jobs are not plentiful, crime goes up. Everybody knows this. But whenever we talk about unemployment and crime with black men, no one draws the connection between miseducation, unemployment, economic castration, and incarceration. They just want everybody to think that they're born to commit crime. All they want to do is kill because they don't want to solve the problem.